Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashley and I'm a part-time reseller on Poshmark in Canada. In today's video, we're going to talk about 7 different places where you can find inventory to sell online. This list is meant for someone who's brand new to reselling, who might be thinking about where they can find inventory, or perhaps a more seasoned reseller who's just looking at different ways to diversify the places where they get their inventory. If you enjoy reseller content like this, Poshmark tips and tricks, thrift hauls, what sold videos, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. And if you're a new subscriber, leave me a comment down below saying that you subscribe and say hello, because I love to check in with this community. And if you want to follow all of my adventures on Poshmark and Instagram, you can find me at AshleyDTL. The one thing I want to say before I jump into 7 different places where you can find inventory to sell online is that this isn't an exhaustive list. I'm sure there's other places that I haven't thought about. And if I missed something, be sure to leave me a comment. Let me know your favorite place to find inventory to sell online. Even as I was thinking about making this video, I kept coming up with more and more things. Wanted to get your wheels turning and start to think about where you can find clothes to sell online. There's so many options, and as I said, this list is really just meant to be a starting point, give you inspiration and give you some ideas and get those wheels turning. I think everyone comes to reselling with a different story, and I'd love to hear how you started reselling. Like, where did you get your first inventory? Let me know in the comments below. As I go through the list, I'm going to share more about that source for inventory, and then I'm going to talk about a couple of factors for each of them. That'll be the cost, pretty self-explanatory, how much it's going to cost you to buy things or get these things to sell online. The second thing is like the time and effort it's going to take, so bang for your buck. And the third thing is like the value and the sellability. Those are kind of the 3 buckets that we're going to be looking for in each category. So let's dive in. The first one is probably the place that many people, if not most people, start their reselling journey, and that's in your personal closet. That is absolutely where I started to find inventory to sell online. And to be honest, in the beginning, I didn't intend to start this into a business. I was just going to sell a few pieces of my clothing on Poshmark to make some money back. That was it, but it turned into something much bigger. And I feel like that might be the case for a lot of people. So your personal closet is an amazing way to find some clothes, to sell online, to get them out of your house into someone else's home, and to put some money in your own pocket. I also think it's a really great gateway because it helps you decide if you actually enjoy this reselling thing. So you can like dip your toe into the water and see if this is a thing that you would like to do more. From a cost perspective, it's not going to cost you anything extra because you already bought the clothes. You probably already wore them, unless they're just like hanging in your closet and you never wore them. But like, there's no additional cost to you for your inventory. So that's amazing. From a time and effort perspective, the time is low depending on how big your closet is and how much you need to go through and sort through. And the effort is low because they're probably in your own home. So you don't even need to leave to find that inventory. It is right there waiting for you. So that's amazing. And from a value perspective, it's awesome because the clothes are just sitting there anyway. They're not making you any money if they're just hanging in your closet. And so you can get some value for them rather than, just donating them or giving them away. You can actually get something back for them, which is awesome. What you get back for them though is really going to be dependent on your style, what's popular, how worn the clothes are. It can really, really vary, but it's definitely a really great place for people to start, in my opinion. Selling clothes from your own closet, it's good for you, it's good for the environment, it's good for the person who buys it, and it's good for your wallet. Highly recommend. The second place I would suggest you start looking for inventory to sell online is the closets of people around you. So that could be someone that you live with, maybe it's a family member, a partner, maybe it's your family who don't live with you, but they have closets that need picking. Maybe it's a friend, a coworker, acquaintance, anyone who knows that you're reselling might have clothes available that you can sell. Definitely go through the closets of the people that you live with and let other people know that you're doing this reselling thing, because they might have clothes that they're just looking to get rid of that they can give to you, and that's amazing. I actually had an old coworker reach out recently, and she said she had a bunch of clothes that she was getting rid of, and she knew I was doing Poshmark, and did I want them? And I was like, yes. And so she sent me just like really scrappy photos of what she had. I said, yes, 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 no, yes, 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 and picked them up from her in a socially distant way. I brought her a Starbucks gift card because it was just really nice that she did that. And then I had all of these items that I could sell. So that was amazing. So definitely let people know that you're doing this reselling thing, because they might have clothes that you can sell. They might just not want to do it themselves and just be really looking to get rid of the clothes in a quick and easy way, and you can take them off their hands. So from a cost perspective, it's likely going to be free or low cost because you're taking them from someone that you know, which is great. Talk to the people around you and see what makes most sense. As I said, my friend who offered the clothes to me, I gave her a Starbucks gift card. That was totally my decision, and she was really surprised. She's like, you didn't have to do this. I was like, you didn't have to come drop these clothes off to me. So, you know, figure out what makes sense for you. I've had other friends give me some of their clothes and I went through them. And in some cases I kept a bunch to sell and then donated the rest. But the great thing about some of the places that I donate to is that you get a coupon. So I got value for these clothes that weren't even mine as well. So cost, probably gonna be low. Timing wise, if it's someone that you live with, that's super easy. But if it's someone that you don't live with, it's gonna be a little bit of time for you because you're gonna need to get the clothes, you're gonna need to sort through them, launder them, you know, figure out what you're selling, and that sort of thing. So a bit more time commitment. And then from a value point of view, they're gonna be a good value because you're probably gonna get them for free or very, very low cost. But the resale value is really going to be dependent on what the items are, the condition that they are, and you know how popular they currently are. But getting clothes from people that you know can be another great gateway into reselling because it's going to be a low cost, low commitment option. The third option that I'm going to talk about is one of my favorites, and that is the thrift store or the bins. I'm gonna group them together. I know they're different. Don't yell at me. I realize that they're different, but it's the same kind of idea. You're purchasing used clothing from a retailer, either one item at a time or in bulk at the bins. You do you. So thrifting is going to be different for everyone depending on the thrift stores in your area, depending if you have bins in your area, and what's available there is going to vary from city to city, province to province, state to state, wherever you are. It's a bit like a treasure hunt, and I think that's why so many of us love it. When it comes to thrift stores, there are lots of options depending on where you live. You know, there are some of the bigger chains like Value Village or Savers, Goodwill, Talese, Salvation Army, and then there's also like smaller mom and pop thrift stores, ones that might be run by the local church, that kind of thing. When it comes to thrift stores, especially the bigger ones, get on their mailing list, sign up for their newsletter. If they have any sort of loyalty programs, sign up for that because that way you'll be in the know and you'll get the best information when it comes to sales and all that kind of stuff, so that will help you save money in the long run. There really is some detective work involved, so see what they have, see what the inventory is like, see what the cost is like, and then you can start to decide which thrift stores you really like going to, which ones you'll skip, which ones you might stop by on occasion. From a cost perspective, it's gonna vary. Really depends on the store. And obviously going to the thrift store, you're gonna be paying by the item versus going to the bins or like a pay by the pound place, you're literally just paying by the pound. And some stores have special deals where it might be like $1 a day or like fill a bag or like a certain color. So, you know, that's gonna impact your cost as well. Also, some thrift stores have been raising their prices to increase their profits. And so many people have been finding that the cost of goods at different thrift stores has been going up. When it comes to thrifting, there is a financial investment and you need to decide what makes sense for you and your business model and what an item is worth to you. In terms of time and effort, it takes time. You've got to go there. You've got to go through the things. Then you've got to look at the things, maybe do some research. Then you're going to check for flaws. You've got to launder the item. So there is a time and effort commitment involved. I feel like I might say this for every category, but value is going to be super variable. Hopefully you find a thrift store or a collection of thrift stores or the bins that really work for you and your business model, where you can find great items at a cost that makes sense. There's also a bit of chance involved because sometimes you'll go into a thrift store and find so many amazing items, find a really great deal, find, you know, like the unicorn item that you're like, ah, when you find it because it's the best. And then other times it's like the tumbleweeds are rolling by and you can't even find one thing to purchase. The other thing when it comes to the thrift store to be mindful of is authenticity. You didn't actually purchase the item originally, so you don't know where it came from. So when it comes to different brands, you really want to be mindful about checking the item's authenticity to the best of your ability. And maybe for higher priced items like purses, shoes, that kind of stuff, having it authenticated. So that way you have that peace of mind of knowing that what you bought is what you're selling and what the buyer is going to receive. I miss thrifting. I can't wait to get back when stores are open again. This one's kind of a catch-all. Other used clothing sources is what I'm calling it. Because if I didn't, I would have had to have like 15 categories. Then this video would have been really long and y'all wouldn't have watched it. I hope you're still watching at this point. So what I'm gonna say here is get creative. Look around and see where you can purchase used clothing. That might look like buy-sell trade store, Facebook Marketplace, estate sales, online auctions, garage sales, the platform that you sell, Poshmark, eBay, etc. For myself, I've kind of dabbled in a couple of these. I've only ever purchased stuff on Facebook Marketplace. No, it's a lie. I've only ever purchased one thing on Facebook Marketplace, and that was a Jilly jacket for myself. But I have occasionally searched to see if there's anything in my neighborhood. Let me know if you've purchased things on Facebook Marketplace or estate sales, garage sales, let me know. I've also been exploring online auctions, especially being in lockdown right now, and there's a lot of online auctions that happen all over the country, and it's fascinating. And so I've been looking at different ones in Toronto, and I actually purchased one item to resell so far and may purchase more in the future. It's kind of a neat option. Oh, I've also sourced a little bit on Poshmark, especially when I have credit in my account. It's amazing. You can refer people to Poshmark using your code, and then when they purchase something and receive their first purchase, you get money as well. And so that can be a great way to basically source with free money on Poshmark. But have a look around and see what options are available to you when it comes to purchasing used clothing. Like, there's so many options. From a cost perspective, these other sources for used clothing, they're super variable, right? Like, you could find, someone who's selling like a bag of Lululemon and get an amazing deal. Or you might find like a really special item and be able to purchase that. In most cases, you're probably gonna be looking for like those really great deals, and you might be able to find them. It might just require a little bit more digging. So from a time and effort perspective, this one's probably going to be a little bit higher because you need to seek out those sources. It's likely going to take a little bit more time for these other sources because you're going to have to figure out what the source is, and then you're going to have to find the items. You might have to go pick them up. You might have to communicate with the other person to pick them up, that kind of thing. And then from a value perspective, it can be a really great opportunity to find great items from a different source, maybe at a lower cost. As it is with thrifting though, you want to be mindful of authenticity and making sure that you're actually getting what you said you were going to get. Number 5, consignment. So consignment is an arrangement in which goods are left in the possession of an authorized third party to sell. Basically, someone gives you their items to sell, and then y'all split the revenue that comes in. So this can be a really great way to get higher quality, higher value items without actually having to buy them, which can be amazing. I've talked to a couple of people about doing consignment, but I haven't done much. I helped a coworker out by selling a purse of theirs, and they were going to buy me a tea latte in return, and I was okay with that. And I've talked to some other people about doing consignment and started to figure out for myself what would make it worth it for me. So one of the good things about consignment is that there's no upfront cost to you. And so this can be a really great way to get your hands on some great items without having to invest the money upfront. That being said, you're not going to make the full profit when the item actually sells. And so you want to take that into consideration when you're thinking about your consignment deal. And with that in mind, consignment might be a better option for items that are of a higher value because you're going to be splitting that cost in whatever the arrangement that you've worked out. That in mind, this business model can work better with higher priced items because you're going to be splitting that commission, that revenue, in whatever way that you figured out works for the two of you. For consignment, it's amazing because someone's going to come to you, drop off the items, and that part is taken care of. So from a time and effort perspective, that part is pretty easy, but you're still going to need to go through all of the items, inventory them, list them, take photographs, not in that order, share them, and ship them out. And then you're also going to have communication with the person whose items they were. So in addition to all of that work, you're also going to have communication with the person whose items that they are. And if the items don't sell, you're also going to have to get the items back to the person. So there are some additional things to think about when it comes to consignment. And when it comes to value with the right client, there is so much potential here. And because you're not paying for the items up front, that can be an incredible deal for you. Number 6 is retail arbitrage. Here's a definition. Retail arbitrage is the practice of buying an item from one market and reselling it on another market at a higher price. The item is usually bought from the original seller at a discount, often in bulk, and resold at a profit elsewhere. So basically this is buying clothes online or in person and then taking them to resell on Poshmark or another platform. You can purchase items for retail arbitrage anywhere, but a lot of people check out stores like Winners, TJ Maxx, Marshalls, those kinds of discount chains, because you can get some great deals there. But you can also just purchase items for retail arbitrage at any retailer, especially when they have sales, so you can get a good deal. From a cost perspective, retail arbitrage can cost more than going to the thrift store or going to the bins or some of the other ways that we've talked about. But the benefit is that the items are usually going to be new with tags. they're probably going to be in unworn condition. Sometimes they might have a flaw. They also have the potential to be items that are currently in season, which has the potential to make them more valuable. So those things could make them more attractive in the resale market and obviously get you a higher value. And then buying online, you also want to consider that you might have to take into account shipping. And if you're in Canada and you're buying from the US, you're going to have to take into account like duties and taxes as well. So some things to think about from a cost perspective for retail arbitrage. For time and effort, it's kind of going to be similar to the thrift stores where, you're going to have to take a look around, see what makes sense for you and see what you'd like to purchase. The good thing is you don't have to worry as much about the quality of the items because they're generally going to be unworn and they're going to need a lot less work when you get them home, which can be really positive. From a value perspective, again, lots of opportunity to get higher quality items, higher retail value items that could resell for more money. Also, things that are going to be new with tags have the potential to have more value as well. That being said, one of the things you want to be careful about when it comes to retail arbitrage is, if something is really discounted, is really on sale, there might be a reason for that. It might not have been a desirable item when it was on sale in the store, and that's why it's sitting there on the clearance rack. So you could purchase it, and yes, it might be a good deal for you, but you might not get the return on the investment that you're looking for. The nice thing about retail arbitrage too is that you have to worry much less about the authenticity because you are purchasing it from a retailer, so you're getting it from the source. I've done a tiny bit of retail arbitrage. I think I purchased less than 10 items. I want to say probably less than 5 items. I've looked online occasionally and often chicken out because I've been looking at US sources and I'm like, oh, it's just gonna cost too much money. And when I've done retail arbitrage in person, it's often been because I've been near a Winners or like a Marshalls and I've been like, oh, I'll just go check out and see what they have. When stores open up again, I think that is something that I would like to try a little bit more of just because I have found some really great items and I have been able to resell them for a higher value, which is really cool. The last category that I'm gonna talk about are liquidation boxes and pallets. Yes, I'm grouping them together again. I know I'm kind of cheating, but they go hand in hand. I recently talked about a box that I purchased from a company called Boutique by the Box, and I will link that up here. This can be a great way to get your hands on inventory that can be higher quality, can be new with tags, and get it sort of in bulk. There's a number of companies that sell these types of like liquidation boxes or pallets. Usually the items are new, sometimes they're gently worn or have been returns from the store. The condition, super variable. Sometimes they're like brand new with tags, everything's great. Other times you're like, cool, this item looks amazing, but ooh, what's that hole? Or it's missing a button, or maybe the zipper doesn't do up. In most cases with these boxes or pallets, like you have an idea of what's coming, like 20 women's items or 30 pairs of shoes or free people or whatever it is, but you don't actually know the contents of the box until you receive it. Sometimes you'll get a manifest with it and that will kind of break out what the items are, what sizes they are, what they're called, and in other cases you'll just get a box and you'll open it up and it's like, surprise, here's what's in it. That was me with Boutique by the Box. I've also seen the trend of some resellers doing this as another source of income for them. So they will go ahead and purchase a pallet, so like a huge quantity of items, and then do smaller boxes, like mystery boxes for resellers. So from a cost perspective, generally the more you buy, the better deal that you get. And the cost is really going to depend on the company. So have a look around, do your research, and see what makes sense for you. If you're in Canada and you're buying from the US, you're going to think about the US dollar conversion, you're going to think about shipping, duties, taxes, and you're going to have to take that into account for your cost as well. But you can get a really great deal on a large quantity of items, which can be a really positive thing for your business. From a time and effort perspective, there's going to be time spent figuring out where to purchase these boxes or pallets and what makes sense for you and your business. And then once they arrive, there is quite a bit of time and energy spent sorting through, figuring out what the items are, checking for any flaws, and doing that kind of work that you'd have to do with items from other sources as well. And from a value perspective, there's so much potential, especially when you're getting boxes that are full of items that are new with tags, or might include some premium brands. And if you're paying a low cost of goods per item and then you get a very special item in the box, that can pay for the box in and of itself, which is pretty cool. The challenge is you don't have much visibility into what's in the box, so you don't know what you're going to get. And some surprises are good, some are not so good. There's tons of videos on YouTube and on social media of resellers doing unboxes of these types of boxes. And in some cases, they're really, really great, and in others, not so much. The box that I recently got from Boutique Are the Box, I'm pretty happy with. It's been a great option for me, especially because we're in lockdown. I can't go sourcing in the same way, and I got a lot of really great items, and one of them's already sold, so that's positive. One of my favorite things about being a reseller is there's no right or wrong way to do this. You get to choose the business model that works for you. You get to choose where inventory comes from and the types of items that you like to sell. And I hope that this video helped to kind of break down some of the places where you could get inventory and start to add to your Poshmark closet, your eBay store, or wherever you sell clothing online. I would love to hear from you where you get your inventory, maybe where you started and where you're at now. Has there been a source for clothing inventory that has been like the most lucrative for you? Let me know. Let's have a conversation in the comments. For me, I started with my personal closet and I continue to go through my personal closet on a regular basis and get rid of items that I'm no longer wearing, maybe no longer fit me on a regular basis, and that's amazing. I've been lucky enough to get some clothing from friends and former coworkers, and so that's been awesome. I've sold a couple items from my partner, and that has been really great. I'm a big fan of thrifting, and that is where a lot of my inventory comes from. And I recently found one store in Toronto that does like a buy the pound sort of bin style thing, and that was really fun to go to. I can link my experience up here so you can check out that video to see what I got. As I mentioned, I continue to check out other options and find other sources. I feel like that's going to be ongoing in my reselling career, and that's pretty fun. I'd love to dabble more in consignment because I think that could be a really great business model for me, and I definitely want to do more retail arbitrage. I just need to spend more time doing it. That's kind of it. Basically, I need to make it a priority if I want it to be a priority. And liquidation boxes are definitely something that interest me, and I'll continue to check out from time to time when it makes sense for me. So whether you're new to reselling or you are a veteran, I hope that this video was interesting, informative, and helpful for you when it comes to thinking about different places where you can find inventory to sell in your Poshmark closet, on your eBay store, or other places that you sell clothing, accessories, and shoes online. And if you enjoyed it, please give it a like and be sure to subscribe to my channel so that you're notified of future videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye now.